Good evening. I would like to call this meeting to order. May I have a roll call, please? Mrs. Capello.
Ms. Carbonell?
Here.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes, here.
Mrs. Mackey? Here. Mr. McDowell?
Present.
Mrs. Manisi?
Here.
Ms. Santana?
Present.
Mrs. Scott Heeden?
Here.
Mrs. Williams?
Thank you. And for the record, Mr. Cohen is remote. Mrs. Carbonell, would you please lead us in the flag salute?
I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Vice President, would you please read the mission statement?
The mission of the Township of Union Public Schools is to build on the foundations of honesty, excellence, integrity, strong family, and community partnerships. We promote a supportive learning environment where every student is challenged, inspired, empowered, and respected as diverse learners. Through cultivation of students' intellectual curiosity, skills, and knowledge, our students can achieve academically and socially and contribute as responsible and productive citizens of our global community.
Thank you. Ms. Coons, please read the Open Public Meetings Act statement.
Yes. In accordance with the provision of the New Jersey Open Public Meeting Act, the Township of Union Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof published in the Star Ledger and Union County local sources posted at the administrative building of 2369 Morris Avenue, Union, New Jersey, filed with the Township Clerk and mailed to all persons, if any, who have requested so. The Board of Education offers members of the public an opportunity to address issues regarding any item on the agenda or on any issues. Individuals need to identify themselves by name and address. Public comment is limited to 3 minutes. Issues raised by members of the public may or may not be responded to by the board. All comments will be considered, and a response will be forthcoming when and if appropriate. The board asks all members of the public to be courteous and mindful of the rights of other individuals when speaking. Comments regarding students and employees of the board will not be responded to the board. Madam President.
Thank you. The board will go into executive session to discuss personnel, students, and/or legal issues, and we might take action once we return. May I have a motion to move into executive session?
Second.
So moved by Ms. Scott Hayden and seconded by Ms. Manisi. May I have a roll call, please? Ms. Capello.
Ms. Carbonell? Yes. Mr. Cohan?
Mr. Cohen? Okay.
Mrs. Mackey? Yes. Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mrs. Manisi?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott Heeden? Yes. Ms. Santana?
Yes.
On the turn.
Where do we have?
Second.
Who seconded that, I'm sorry? Thank you so much, Ms. Marilyn Williams. Roll call, please, Ms. Capula.
Ms. Carbonell?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan? Mrs. Mackey? Mr. McDowell?
Abstain.
Mrs. Manisi,
Yes.
Mrs. Scott Hayden?
Abstain from 1 and 2, and yes to 3, December 19th.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Santana?
Yes. Thank you. Next, we have our communications that are reflected on the personnel and operations agenda. Ms. Kuhn, for communications, that's personnel operations that reads that? Thank you. Do I review it individually?
No.
Thank you. And at this point, if there's any comments from the public on resolutions and all other matters, we would love to hear them.
Okay, good. Okay. Do I have to start over, or are we good? Good with the name? Okay, so this is more about thanking a teacher publicly. So my daughter at Battle Hill has Patty Bogda. She has gone above and beyond to help Chelsea. We have not had the greatest meetings lately. She's been struggling. And Ms. Bogda, who's her gen ed teacher, because she's also in resource, has gone above and beyond, out of her way, has advocated for my child like it was her job, like her only job. We should have more teachers like Ms. Bogda. I am still having issues with my child and getting some proper help, but Ms. Bogda is there every step of the way. She helps out, she checks over work for me, we talk about the best ways. She advocates for the child, for the best interest of the child, and I've had great teachers, thank God, all my gen ed teachers and Miranda's teachers, they've all been wonderful, but Ms. Bogda has gone out of her way, and you would think this is her own child, the way she advocates for the kids, because that's who she looks out for, and I just wanted to publicly thank her. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any other comments from the public on resolutions or all other matters? It's going, it's going, it's gone. So I'll hand over the mic to our superintendent, Dr. Benequista, for his superintendent's report.
Thank you, Madam President. As you can see, my agenda tonight will talk about, as we do monthly, impact employee recognition, student recognition, a small glimpse of what's going around throughout our district, as well as we have our regular HIB reporting and affirming, and then this is the biannual where we have to review from September, the first reporting period, September till December. And then, as always, our great liaisons will share some highlights also that's going on. So, as we know, I spoke about it before. When I created the Impact Award, I'm really looking, actually, like Ms. Diaz just highlighted, people throughout our district that really do make an impact, not just that the kids might like, but they're going above and beyond, and they're really doing that stuff that's making a difference in our children's lives. We have a lot. Monthly, people nominate community, internally, other teachers, other staff members. And, the first one I would like to call up is Michaela Whitman-Land. She's at Union High School, and she's a certified school psychologist. Come on up and just join me for a second, Madam President. So I've known Michaela for a long time, just got to work with her many times too on different situations. Madam Vice President, I apologize. And a lot of times getting to know and working with teachers and staff members, I see the great things they do. But in this case, a community member, a parent of ours reached out and talked to him for a long time. He followed up with an email, again, kind of confirming everything that how Ms. Whitman-Land helped. And, what he says is that what he has gotten to know is, and I put up a couple of the things, but especially our CST, truly advocating for our special ed students is huge. We try to, as educators, get our special ed students to advocate for themselves, but it takes time. It takes people encouraging it, sitting with them and modeling for them, where we need our professionals to advocate for our students when it's warranted. And, in this case, I know Ms. Whitman-Land has done that. Also, just when she's getting notified, she's responding. We talk about communication. It solves a lot of things, but not that she has to respond. There's hours that she's required to work, and there's hours not. And it was stated to me, and I've known it other times, she goes above and beyond. I'm sure I know her family's here. I'm sure they would probably confirm with it. But she is getting back to our parents, sometimes on the weekends at night, and again, not required to, but, obviously when you read stuff and the students need something, it's ingrained in you. It's hard not to, I'm sure. And, she really, with our children, that when you're trying to find what's working and what will work for them, finding those right accommodations and placement is important, because you want to keep educating the child at the least restrictive environment to get them ready to transition after school. And I want to give highlights to that as well. She has the best interest of students. And again, when she receives questions, a lot of times somebody will say, it's not my responsibility. Hopefully not. And maybe they don't lead that person to where they're going to get the answers from. And again, Ms. Whitman-Land doesn't leave it where it's just hanging there, that I can't help you. She'll also bring that parent, that situation, to the person that's going to help. So with that, I thank you. I know you're making an impact on our kids, and I appreciate everything you do, your hard work, and how you support our children. So I really do appreciate that. So just ready for a picture? Burns out. Sticks out. Thank you. Mr. John Boyd, would you come up? So I asked Mr. Boyd, I know he was recognized by the Rotary Club recently, but, my eyes opened up. I've known some bits and pieces of it. He shared some things along the way, but it really hit home when I got to know a little bit more. So John volunteered over 20 years ago, and 2002 is when it started, right? with the Little League Challenger division. And he's a coach, still a coach, after the 20-plus years, to help kids that, and you could probably explain it to a little more than me, but with that need help a little bit socially, with communication skills, as well as physical skills and emotional skills. John started getting involved when his son Jalen, sorry about that, was involved and has continued all these years. So if John as a parent was just helping because of his child that needed it, he would have been done how many years ago? 17, 18, 19 years ago? So, but John hasn't. He stayed around and is still doing this for many children, hundreds over the years, correct? And now, which really touched my heart, is that his son, who he started with, is now coaching with him. That's amazing. So I want to just thank you. And again, John works for us on the maintenance side of our district. So it just shows also how any employee of our district can touch the lives of children in many different ways. Not a lot of people will volunteer their time. It's hard today. People, again, are running all over the place. But John found a way to stay involved and still reaching these kids and helping these kids. And then on top of it, being able to coach with your son, which got you there, is amazing. So I just congratulate you. Come on up, Ms. President, Ms. Vice President, Madam President, Vice President. And let's just take a picture. And it's a small token of recognition, but I do appreciate what you're doing for all our kids. So real quick, Mean Girls just happened. They did awesome. I really enjoyed it. I saw the Sunday show, and I was going to have them come tonight. There was a lot going on so you guys could put a name and a face together and see what wonderful things. We're working on sending out our, later this month or early next month, our next edition, but they did a mid-month highlight of Mean Girls. They had a lot of, from what I understand, all 3 nights there was pretty much packed. So, and it was an amazing show, and more to come on that. Many people might not know, but January is now recognition month for boards of ed throughout the state. So I just felt the need to recognize the Board of Education members for, again, their time volunteering to help all our students. School Boards is the organization that kind of oversees it, and they're asking all school districts to recognize the boards of ed. Obviously, sometimes it's a thankless job, but I am very lucky because I know who I'm working with, and that it is I couldn't ask for a better board that's going to fight for our children, our community, that has the best interest of everyone. And I'm going to recommend that they're asking that districts adopt the resolution that every January will be a month to recognize boards of education. I would like to call everyone up and we get a quick picture. I have a certificate, as well as I'll just read something I wrote. Heartfelt thanks to the School Board of Education. I hope this message finds you well. I wanted to take a moment to express my sincere gratitude for the invaluable service you provide to our community. As members of the School Board of Education, your dedication to ensuring our students and staff success and well-being is truly commendable. The countless hours you invest in making decisions that shape the future of our educational system do not go unnoticed. Your commitment to fostering a positive learning environment and promoting academic excellence is inspiring. Thank you for the tireless efforts, passion, and unwavering commitment to the education of our children. Your work has a lasting impact on all students' lives and contributes significantly to the overall well-being of our school community. As a committed member of this school community, I am grateful for the hard work and dedication each of you brings to your role. Please know that your service is appreciated and your contributions make a meaningful difference. I wish you the continued success in all your endeavors, and I look forward to the ongoing positive developments you will bring to our educational system in the future. Thank you. Want to get a quick picture? Thank you very much. So, next up is a small glimpse. With a small glimpse, I'm just trying to touch on some great things because we have a lot going on around our district. Dr. Perez is going to help me out shortly. But I just wanted to highlight one of our programs here at the high school, Tomorrow's Teachers. You know, and I asked for just a little bit of all they do or have done throughout this year that they'll continue to do. And I just put up some pictures. They do create bulletin boards in our school to make it more festive and meet the themes that are going on during that time. They do attend conferences. One was at William Patterson on October 13th, and then they also have to put in observation hours. I was also at the holiday CPAG. I know some of the board members were there. The holiday party, they were helping out at the holiday party with our CPAG and our students. So they just do some wonderful things. Right now, I guess they're in that program. They're interested in education, which is great. We need to get more students involved. As we know, it's tough right now with the challenges in education getting people going into the field. So that's a shout out to Joseph Daly, who oversees it, and all our students. Dr. Perez, do you want to just highlight what's going on the educational side with Muslim Heritage Month, as well as pilots coming up?
Yes, good evening, everyone. So with regard to Muslim Heritage Month, a number of our schools, if not all of our schools, are celebrating it in various ways, from morning announcements highlighting Muslim Americans to virtual halls of fame that one of our schools is doing, like Jefferson. We are we also have lessons taking place in our classes so that our students are not just exposed to the efforts and the advancements of the Muslim Americans, but they're also become more appreciative of what's out there and what accomplishments have been made by them. So we appreciate our schools, our teachers, and our administrators for continuing that celebration. In terms of our curriculum plan, in terms of our literacy, definitely we're continuing with our focus on being the elementary and middle school. Primarily in our elementary school, we're piloting 2 programs, And we definitely want to be sure that we're not just building the foundational skills that our students need in K through 2, we're also providing for better transitions to 3 to 5 that allow for not just reading comprehension, but advanced learning, which will ultimately help them as they move into the middle school. And our goal is to ultimately have the same program in K through 5 so that our students not only transition seamlessly from grades 4th to 5th, but also then once they get to 5th grade, they are better prepared and have better footing when they go into the middle school. In terms of math, as we had shared last year, we began to look at different programs that would meet the needs of our students, as well as still ascertain the level of rigor that we'd like to happen and continue. So we're doing that in our middle school, and we have many teachers, both at the elementary level and middle school level, who have volunteered to pilot what programs are best suited to meet the needs, as well as the curricular rigor of our district.
Thank you, Dr. Perez. So as I have to do monthly, this right now is just our monthly reported HIBs. So from January 10th to January 23rd, we had 2 founded, 0 unfounded, and 0 inconclusive. Those were the schools that had the 2, Burnett Middle School and Union High School. So we're affirming 6 cases, 6 were founded, 5 were unfounded, 1 inconclusive. And there's where the cases were. There was 1 at Battle Hill, 2 at Burnett, founded, 1 founded at Kwame, 2 at Union High School. The unfounded were Franklin 3, Hannah Caldwell 1, and Livingston 1, and then the inconclusive was at Union High School. So now, twice a year, this is reporting period 1. We have to report on all our cases. As you see in the first half of the year, there was 88 cases. 44 were founded. And on the other side, 44 were unfounded / inconclusive. And this is all going to be posted online, so I'm not going to read through the whole thing. It's very detailed. I encourage people to go up and look. I'm going to highlight some things, but there's our schools that were founded and unfounded and conclusive. That was the breakdown. And again, just to note, some cases might be more than 1 criteria, so the numbers might not match. But based on, it could meet 2 different criteria. So there you have based on the different categories, the types of and nature of support services. There's a lot from counseling to education to detention to suspension, sometimes police notification, mediation and stuff like that. So, lots of different types of interventions. That's a list of our anti-bullying specialists by building. Some of the district programs we're doing, we do assemblies. Again, I'm not going to read through all of them. There's some, I'll highlight some on vaping, digital citizenship, bullying, box out bullying, respect, PBSIS, and then some of the student and parent support, small groups, new students, grief, self-esteem, girl connection, social skills. Again, a lot going on within our schools. Into the classroom, some of the things how they integrated in the classroom, advisory, classroom homeroom lessons, elementary monthly HIB, SEL social skills, mindfulness, calming techniques, digital citizenship. There's daily announcements, freshman class meetings at Union High School, health class integration, and then programming and resources. There's some that's, for the counselors, virtual office, mindfulness, Google Classroom activities by the counselors, PLCs by the counselors, morning meeting slides, spirit weeks. The counselors do a lot of, throughout our district, spirit weeks to hone in on some of these, the elementary school, I believe it was this week? This week is respect and teaching the kids. And, we like to also make it fun, and sometimes the teachers are dressing up wearing their favorite, say, sports and stuff like that. They have different themes throughout the district to try to encourage everyone to participate. There's district-wide events, building activities, And again, as you see, there's a lot. Our counseling department handles a lot of this, along with collaborating with other staff members. But again, we just keep trying to do more and more to impact the children, especially when it comes to these cases, because we want to keep finding ways to connect and obviously slow down or stop the amount of HIBs that we're dealing with. So there is a lot of trainings that go on as well. The School Safety, Culture, Climate Committee, they meet. It's mandated. Professional development opportunities. There's been a lot of that going on. So again, a lot to keep impacting, positively impacting harassment, intimidation, bullying. And then just again, to look forward, our district, it will be going out shortly. We're looking to take part with the American Heart Association. It's Go Red for Women. It's on February 2nd. I encourage not just our school community, but the township, anyone in the community, wear red on February 2nd. It's to bring awareness, cardiac arrest, as it says there, leading cause of death in the world. And each year, more than 350,000 out-of-hospital cardiac arrests occur in the United States. Almost 3 over 4 happen at home. And then they're wearing the red for the women. It's to highlight that right now, only 39% of the women receive CPR compared to 45% of men. And they say it's, I was reading a lot online. I put a link so you guys could go learn more about it. But sometimes people are afraid to intervene. And that's what it really is. We're encouraging people to get CPR trained, but also to be comfortable intervening if something's happening. So we're going to support this. This came from a colleague in another district, opened my eyes to it. And we're going to put red light bulbs at all our buildings at the front entrances. So it's a way where they ask for pictures to show how many communities are getting involved in this. So I encourage everyone to wear red on February 2nd. At the same time, we're not there yet, but the bumper sticker, there's a lot of people that took part of it. Some amazing artistic designs. It's going to be very hard to choose. I might have to choose a couple, the top 3 or 4, because there's so many good ones. We're going to be finalizing that by next month, and I would like to highlight that as well as our job board again. So next, I would like to hand it over to Nisa Phyllis and Gia Patel, as they do every month. Our student liaisons will present, and then I'll get the slideshow up.
You can just click slideshow in the top right corner. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for giving Nisa and I your attention. It's always our pleasure to compile the highlights. So we're just going to go through the December and January highlights. So first, starting off, for the extracurricular section, Senior Class Council held an event, and it was a winter wonderland on December 20th. The council organized a fundraising event in the Union High School cafeteria with a really cute winter wonderland theme. The event featured engaging activities like gingerbread house competitions, a cookie decorating station, and a hot chocolate bar. Next was the Mean Girls production. It was from January 19th to the 21st. The UHS PAC successfully staged a captivating production of the musical Mean Girls, and emotions ran high specifically with this play through performers, because a lot of the seniors acknowledged that this could possibly be the last production of 2024. So they described this as bittersweet, as they were bidding farewell to the stage while cherishing memories. Next was the TUPS Parents Academy, and on January 19th here in the library, they conducted a seminar to explore the profound effects of stress on both physical and mental health. The event underscored Union's commitment to prioritizing the well-being of not only the community, but also each individual. This seminar is part of a series of initiatives that are taken exemplifying the significance of collective and individual well-being within the union community. Next is the 7th and 8th grade info night, which was held in the Big Gym. This is a yearly event, and students were introduced to an array of extracurriculars, including sports such as track, and extracurriculars including dance team. Next is the Winter Coat Drive. The UHS Empower Club is proud to announce their Winter Coat Drive taking place from January 2nd to February 1st. This initiative aims to support families in need by accepting both new and gently used coats. In alignment with the Union High commitment to community service, the UHS Empower Club, along with other affiliated clubs, remain dedicated to making a positive impact and exemplifying the value of compassion and assistance. Next is plans of a UHS fashion show. The Senior Council and Student Council are delighted to announce their collaborative effort in organizing the 2024 Union High Fashion Show. This annual tradition, featuring our very own UHS students as models, is eagerly anticipated by the entire school community. As plans unfold and additional details are solidified, I'm excited about delving into this project and providing updates. And on to the athletic accolades.
Okay, the UHS wrestling. This past Saturday, our high school hosted the Union County Wrestling Tournament. 16 Union County schools competed in the long day tournament. UHS senior Daniel Collin won the Union County Championship at 175 class, defeating Joey Asinapura of Cranford by pin. Dan is the first Union County champion since 2017. Union's Aziel Azarado finished second in the 138-pound weight class, and Union finished fifth in the team standing. The Union High School wrestling team is currently 10-4 and ranked fourth in the North Jersey Section 2 Group 5. Alyssa Alcindor is the top-ranked female wrestler at 235 in NJ. Earlier in January, she finished first in the Elizabeth Ladies Minute Tournament and first at the Bergen County Girls Wrestling Invitational. Christine Pierre-Lewis finished third at these two tournaments for Union. UHS track. The Union High School track throwers competed in the Pioneer Shot Put Night. Esther Amadi and Baba Olowo finished in first place. The Union High School track program competed at the Union County Championships on January 19th. The girls 4x400 meter of Muscat Kid, Anuwolo, and Hortendo earned second place. Caleb Delvinson earned second place in the shot put with a PR of 49.0. Carla Portando earned fourth place in the 400 meter with a PR of 59 seconds and 48, and sixth in the 200. Cassidy Kidd earned sixth in the 800 meter dash. Congratulations to longtime Union High School track coach Bill Serrano. Coach Serrano has been inducted into the New Jersey Scholastics Coaching Association Hall of Fame class of 2024. Coach Serrano coached track and cross country at UHS for over 30 years, accumulated hundreds of wins over 30 county championships, section championships, and group state championships. Union's representative, Samantha Turner, a senior at UHS, is a member of the UHS field hockey, basketball, and track team. She represented Union at the National Women's and Girls in Sports Day at Rutgers University during the Rutgers women's basketball game on Sunday, January 14th. December Athletes of the Month. Number 1 is Ariane Becontis, boys swimming. Number 2 is Francis Belantu, girls swimming. 3 is Samad Alim, bowling. 4 is Gabriel Hargo, wrestling. Please be sure to follow the UHS Sports page at UHS Sports to keep up with all the latest Union achievements. And thank you to Ms. News for all these wonderful pictures.
Not over yet. So for Union Bowling, Samad Lim is competing in the Union County Boys Bowling Championship today at Jersey Lanes in Linden. Samad was in 6th place qualifying for the finals. Only the top 15 bowlers in the county qualify for finals. Michaela May is competing in the Union County Girls Bowling Championship today at Jersey Lanes 2, and she ranked 6th in the county. Thank you. That's all.
Thank you. And Madam President, that concludes my superintendent's report.
Thank you. Next, we will have the Education Student Discipline Committeeman, Mr. McDowell, to present the resolutions to be voted on tonight.
Thank you, Madam President. Upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Education Student Discipline Committee presents the following resolutions for the board's consideration. E1 and E1A have been voted on already. So we will vote on E1 through, E11, affirm the superintendent's determination of HIB. E1-1A, the superintendent's report on harassment, intimidation, and bullying for the period January 10th through January 23rd. Approve acceptance of funds, which is E2. E3, approve application and receipt of funds, NJDOE Mental Health Screening Grant. E4, approve January report, also for HIB. E5, approved curricula for Algebra 1, U.S. History 1, and U.S. History 2. And again, these are all in accordance with the information in the hands of each board member. E6, approve updated 2023 through 2024 school calendar. E7, approve 2024-2025 school calendar. E8, approve the settlement agreement and general release for DC and JC on behalf of MC. Yes. E8? E8. Okay. Assuming everyone heard that, we will return to executive session at some point and discuss E8, so that won't be voted on tonight. E9 is to approve, and these may not be in your agenda, but they have been added. E9 is to approve the reinstatement of students, and this is by their ID number, 250848, 2560000, 268289, 260059, and 250882. And again, this is per the recommendation of the superintendent of schools. E10 is to approve the suspension of student number 268119. And we have some HIBs that we will vote on individually, but for now we will vote for the ones just described from E1-1 through E10.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Wonderful. Ms. Capiola, roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Is that on? Okay. Abstain on E9 and E10, and yes to everything else.
Yes.
Continuing on, there are 3 HIB investigations that we will vote on individually tonight, and these are all under E11. The first one is a motion to affirm KMS number 10 in accordance with the discussion in executive session. Is there a second?
Second.
There's no discussion. Ms. Capiola, roll call, please.
Ms. Carbonell?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan? Mrs. Mackey? Abstain. Mr. McDowell?
Abstain.
Mrs. Manisi?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott Heaton?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Abstain.
Ms. Santana?
Yes.
The second HIB under E11 is a motion to reject LES number 2 and initiate a reinvestigation in accordance with the discussion in executive session.
Second.
There's no discussion. Ms. Capiello, roll call, please.
Ms. Carbonell?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan? Mrs. Mackey? Yes. Mrs. McDowell?
Yes.
Mrs. Delisi?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott Heaton?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Santana?
Yes.
The third and final HIB investigation under E11 is a motion to reaffirm FES number 7 in accordance with the discussion in executive session.
Second.
If there's no discussion, Ms. Capiello, roll call, please.
Ms. Carbonell?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan? Mrs. Mackey? Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mrs. Delisi?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott Heaton?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Santana?
Yes. Thank you. Next, we will have Fiscal and Planning Committee Chair, Ms. Carbonell, to present the resolutions to be voted on tonight.
Good evening, everyone. I first would like to thank the superintendent and the assistant for giving such a detailed presentation and recognizing us tonight. And definitely, Nisi and Gia, that was very thorough. You guys are working very hard, and it was truly impressive. So thank you. Fiscal and Planning Committee, there are a couple of resolutions we voted on during the work session on January 9th, which were F7 and F9C. F16 is for informational purposes only. We will not be voting on that. And Madam President, if you don't have any objections, may I call them in block? So F1, with the exception of the ones that I previously called, F1 through F15.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Moved by Ms. Carbonell, seconded by Ms. Manisi. Is there any discussion? Wonderful. Can I have a roll call, please? Ms. Capiello?
Ms. Carbonell?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan? Mrs. Mackey? Yes. Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mrs. Delisi?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott Heaton?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Santana?
Yes, thank you. We have nothing to report out for grievance and negotiations. Next, we have the Operations Committee Chair, Ms. Kim Scott Hayden, to present the resolutions.
Good evening. Upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Operation Committee presents the following resolutions for the Board's consideration. 01, approve the security drill bus evacuation reports. 02, which are discussion items, request from the Township of Union to use Jefferson School. And 03, request from Town of Union to use the Jefferson School, which is on the 2 different dates. The second one is a request from the Human Relations Committee from the Township of Union, chaired by Reverend Wright, to use Jefferson School for the Black History Month event on February 17th, 2024, between 11 and 5. And the one previously was requested to use Jefferson School auditorium and parking lot for the Township of Union's BHM Crowns, the musical performance on Friday, February 9th, 2024, at 7 p.m. and Saturday, February 10th, 2024, at 12 noon and 6 p.m., with a rain date of February 16th and February 17th.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, this motion has been properly moved by Ms. Kim Scott Hayden and seconded by Ms. Nancy Manisi. Can I have a roll call, please, Ms. Capiello?
Ms. Carbonell?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan? Mrs. Mackey? Yes. Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mrs. Delisi?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott Heaton?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Santana?
Yes, thank you. Next, we will have the Personnel Committee Chair, Ms. Nancy Manisi, to present the following resolutions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. May I pass these as a group as well? Okay, upon recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Personnel Committee presents the following resolutions for the Board's consideration. P1-A through P5.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, this motion has been properly moved by Ms. Nancy Manisi and seconded by Ms. Marilyn Williams. Can I please have a roll call, please, Ms. Capiola?
Ms. Carbonell?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan? Mrs. Mackey?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mrs. Benisi?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott Heaton?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Santana?
Yes. Thank you. This meeting, we have nothing on policy at the moment. Moving along, we have Ms. Nisi. We will have the following residency resolutions.
Okay. Upon recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the residency committee presents the following resolutions for the board's consideration. These students were removed voluntarily, transferred out of the district because of their residency, but there's no vote required on this.
Thank you. Moving along, we have Mr. McDowell, the technology chair, to present the following resolutions.
Upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the technology committee presents the following resolution for the board's consideration. T1, approved list of equipment for recycling in accordance with the information in the hands of each board member.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? This motion has been properly moved by Mr. Ronnie McDowell and seconded by Ms. Kim Hayden. Can I have a roll call, please, Ms. Capiola?
Ms. Carbonell?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan? Mrs. Mackey? Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mrs. Benisi?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott Heaton?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Santana?
Yes. Thank you. May I have a motion to approve the bills?
Motion.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? This motion has been properly moved by Ms. Carbonell and seconded by Ms. Marilyn Williams. Can I have a roll call, please, Ms. Capiola?
Ms. Carbonell?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan? Mrs. Mackey?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mrs. Benisi?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott Heaton?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Santana?
Yes. Thank you so much. And I'm moving on to unfinished business. Yes.
I think it's unfinished business, something that has come up.
Oh, well. I'll get used to me talking some more.
It's funny.
So I think this will be categorized as unfinished business, and I want to kind of, Dr. Benacosta, close in the loop on feedback from parents regarding Zoom as an outlet for us, for the community to be a part of these BOE meetings. And I think that there needs to be some clarity in terms of why isn't Zoom an option, and what options are there for parents to address this remotely. Because the key is we need to give communication, good, bad, or indifferent, whether it's something we want to hear or we don't want to hear. But parents, are requesting some clarity in terms of Zoom. So can you just give us some insight into why Zoom is not an option, and what options are there for parents to join us remotely without coming on site?
So it's not about Zoom as much as having, being live here and then people on Zoom at home. If we were all on Zoom, it would work like it did not too long ago when we had to hold a meeting on Zoom. There wouldn't be the issues like that we've dealt with in the past.
Mhm.
When we're trying to hold the meeting in person and then the community on Zoom, we don't have the equipment, we're not set up for that. That's why you get the feedback, that's why you can't hear we weren't established, the equipment, the setup wasn't established to do two different settings. And again, IT, I did speak to IT about this. They're not at a level where we would have to get a lot more equipment. We're not set up to do a remote meeting with an in-person meeting.
Got it.
So again, if we go all Zoom, so a lot of people say you did it worked.
Right.
But it's not the same when you're in person and then also have a community on Zoom to manage it. And I don't think it's not as clear. So there's more that go into it. Our hopes are that in the future, we do have a setting that could accommodate that.
Great.
But otherwise, I know it is put out there, I believe, on the Township Facebook as well as our local channel.
Great.
So, and then Ms. Nunes, who does our Facebook, it's out there as well, right? All right.
Wonderful. Thank you. I think that was key. We did it, we didn't do it, it needed to be clear.
Yes, and if I might say, having the two separate platforms is the issue. Moving forward, if another emergency is presented and we have to do Zoom, we will do Zoom. If an emergency is presented on the same platform where everyone can be heard. Any other unfinished business? Wonderful. I will move on to new business. I wanted to announce that we received a letter of resignation from Ms. Kenzie on January 9, 2024. We wish her well in all future endeavors, and we will announce the future appointments for this seat.
Madam President,
Yes.
I just wanted to say that I attended the CPAC meeting. It was remote last week, January 16th. And they discussed the holiday party with the students there, different activities. But they also had a guest speaker, Greer Gerlin, who's an attorney, and she reviewed laws pertaining to special ed, resources for the parents, parental rights in special ed, transitional planning for our students when they graduate. And they plan on having more guest speakers. So it was very informative, so I encourage anyone that can to join the meetings. They're on our website, the CPAC committee, so I encourage you to come, or when they have them remotely, to join in. They're very informative.
Thank you. Any other new business?
Madam President, I have a couple of items. Very quickly, Nisa. I want to apologize because I said Nisi earlier. And I know we're celebrating the red, it has to do with first aid and CPR, right? Go Red for Women?
Yes.
So that's commendable. And I was wondering, do we have that as part of our curriculum in PE Health where our students get first aid and CPR certified?
We do have a lot of people getting trained in first aid CPR. I don't think it's all special ed, but it also,
No, the students, I mean.
Yeah, we have students getting certified along the way, but not all.
Got it. Okay, thank you. That's awesome.
Madam President, just a small comment. As a Board of Education, we typically stress that our children, if they need help with stress or are having, I guess, bad days or bad situations, for them to seek out help. One of the things that we discussed in the executive session was also making that kind of resource available to parents. We know, I think we're all aware of what happened this week with the family here in Union, an absolute tragedy. And I could only imagine that if there were some resources available to those parents, maybe that would have helped out. One of the things we discussed in executive session also was, as I said, making those kinds of resources available on our website. I think.
No, you so far you were good, but every time you keep saying when we discussed in executive session,
I apologize.
Makes me stand up in my chair.
Gotcha. Well, one of the things we would like to do is to make resources available online, not only to the students, but also to the parents. And I think that was a very worthwhile discussion. I'd like to see us follow up on that, because who knows how many lives it could save down the line. And excuse me for mentioning executive session.
Thank you.
You're right.
And speaking of executive session, we are going to need to return to discuss a couple of matters. So,
And I would just like to highlight, with the tragic situation that happened, I think it also has to be recognized how much our community stepped up. Not just the schools, but the community itself. I know there was something posted to donate because of the costs, and I know each school participated. I don't have a full number throughout our district because it was just put together in the last day. But I also, when I saw online, and Ms. Nunes, I don't know if you checked it recently, they were over the goal, correct, Ms. Nunes? So the community raised over $25,000 in such a short period of time for this, again, horrible, unforeseen tragedy. But I think it says a lot. Thank you.
And now the board will go into executive session to discuss personnel, student, and legal issues, and action might be taken once we return. May I have a motion to move into executive session?
Motion.
Second.
Second, oh, okay.
Ms. Capiola, roll call, please.
Motion. Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
So,
Mrs. Mackey? Mr. Mc?
motion to reconvene regular meeting.
So moved.
Second,
Second?
roll call, please.
Yes.
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 Yes. And we are moving over to the resolutions.
E8.
Oh, I'm sorry.
E8,
I'm sorry.
yes.
Thank you. I was ready to go. E8, upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Education Student Discipline Committee presents the following resolution for the board's consideration. E8, approved settlement agreement, excuse me, okay, never mind. We don't have to mention the upper limit, right?
No.
Okay. Approved. You're right, thank you. E8, approved settlement agreement and general release. Approved settlement agreement, and general release for DC and JC on behalf of MC in accordance with the non-public information in the hands of each board member.
Second.
Any discussion? This motion has been moved by Mr. McDowell and seconded by Ms. Kim Scott Hayden. Roll call, please, Ms. Capiola.
Ms. Carbonell?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mrs. Mackey?
Yes.
Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mrs. Benisi?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott Hayden?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Santana?
Yes. May I have a motion to adjourn?
Adjourn.
Second? Roll call, please. Did we get a second? Wait.
Second.
You did it.
Oh, I thought Mr. Buggy seconded it for a second.
I would if I could.
Ms.
Thank
Carbonell?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan? Mr. Cohan? Mrs. Mackey? Yes. Mr. McDowell?
Yes.
Mrs. Benisi?
Yes.
Mrs. Scott Hayden? Yes. Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Ms. Santana?
Yes.
Good night.
Yes.
Enjoy your day.